Happy Halloween. It's Monday, October 31st, 2022. Your Day Weather Podcast is being brought to you by Chugwater Chili, the gourmet spice of Western life. With the colder weather coming, grab some Chugwater Chili and you'll get 20% off your purchase at chugwaterchili.com by using the checkout code ChugwaterDon. Don't forget their chili dip and dressing mixes and lots of great stuff at chugwaterchili.com. Nothing too scary coming on this Halloween, certainly weather-wise at least. We've got ourselves a really nice Halloween weather forecast. Could be a little breezy in some areas, and by the time the sun sets, yeah, it'll be a little cool, but all in all, we've had much worse Halloweens weather-wise, so enjoy a great Halloween evening. We're going to have breezy areas and mild temperatures through midweek for most areas. Along and west of the Continental Divide, for you folks in the Pacific Northwest, the Great Basin, falling temperatures and rain and snow will be there as early as Tuesday night and early Wednesday. Then getting along and east of the divide Wednesday night and the Thursday. So it's a great start to the week, but the second half of the week is going to be a lot colder and more unsettled. But the storm is a splitting storm. And when storms split as they come through the Rockies and High Plains, it kind of disperses the energy and the moisture. So this is going to be like the last storm system. The mountains are going to get good snow. Areas along and west of the divide will get rain and snow. For you folks east of the Continental Divide, it's really not going to be much of a producer of rain and snow. Some, but not a lot. When these systems split like this, you just don't get a lot along the Front Range and east of the divide. But the mountains are going to do well, and we're going to have a colder, unsettled pattern this weekend and into early next week. Although November starts off very mild, it does look like for the first couple of weeks of the month, it'll be a little bit colder. Today's satellite imagery shows a swirl of clouds up here in the Gulf of Alaska. And you notice these clouds here in the Gulf of Alaska. These clouds are associated with showing that the air over the water is pretty cold. The way you see these little puffy clouds like this, that means there's lots of cold air over the water. So what you've got yourself is a very energetic pattern coming off the Pacific and into the West Coast. And there you can see the low there off the west coast of British Columbia, while the zonal flow here across the west is very quiet. By noon Wednesday, this is by noon Mountain Time Wednesday, Washington, Oregon, Northern California under a shield of rain, snow in the Cascades, snow in the Sierra Nevada, snow into the Sawtooth of Idaho, pushing into the Great Basin states by midday to late day on Wednesday. Then as we get on into Thursday afternoon and evening, notice we've got a low down in Arizona, and we have the other part of the storm up here in Montana and the Dakotas. What you've got is a splitting storm situation, so the energy gets divided up. So along and west of the divide, you're going to see a pretty good shot of snow in the mountains, rain and snow in the valleys. But east of the divide, it's not until that low you see in Arizona gets into the Midwest will it be a big rain producer. And you can see if I put this all into motion here, you can see the storm splitting and then that low going down into the panhandle of Texas. It will curve up into the Midwest and Corn Belt and be a pretty good rain producer to those areas there. Now notice the blue pushing into Western Canada. That is some pretty cold air and a northwest wind flow loft coming into the Northern Rockies by the upcoming weekend. That's going to keep us cold and unsettled and probably will keep snow shower activity going into the mountains. But since the storm is splitting and not getting organized till it hits the Midwest, it's not going to be much of a front range storm system. But along and west of the divide, this is through 6 p.m. Mountain Time on Thursday. So you can see just right up to the divide and west, it's wet, it's snowy in the mountains, and then east of the divide, there are some showers, but not nearly as much. And through 6 p.m. on Friday, you're going to get snow. Snow will fall to the lower elevations of Interstate 80 in south central Wyoming into the Wasatch Front. Then look at the snow there in the Sierras and the Cascades and getting into the mountains of Idaho and northwestern Montana. Then back up there into Alberta and Saskatchewan. Then as we go out further, see this area here in the Midwest from Texas up through Kansas, eastern Nebraska, and Iowa. A colder, wet period there as that low breaks out. But notice this gap right here. That gap along the Front Range shows that separation between the splitting storm. So east of the divide, it's going to be uneventful. Certainly colder with some rain or snow showers. And here's the cold. By 6 p.m. Thursday, look at that temperature anomaly into California. Look how cold it is, stretching all the way down into Arizona and Utah. So there's a fair amount of cold air with this system coming out of the Gulf of Alaska. By next Wednesday evening, this is 6 p.m. next Wednesday evening, we've got an upper low over southern Canada, and there's a lot of cold air behind it. So we're in a situation where there's getting to be more and more cold air available. Have yourself a great and happy Halloween. We'll see you in November.